is a presentation of the iRacing Esports Network.
Welcome one and all to the iRacing Esports Network, the 6th of November 2018. Lovely Tuesday night in the AusNZ SimSphere, and we've got a bunch of action coming up for you. We are SimSpeed TV, and this is the second annual 410 Sprint Car Grand Slam at Lanier Speedway, presented by Down Under Graphics. This is one of the top sprint car nights in the AusNZ sim racing community. We've got a massive event format for you all tonight. My name is Reese Gardner. Joining me in the commentary box, Cameron Dance. Cameron, dirt oval racing always turns it up, especially down under.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be one heck of a show tonight, being the second installment of this event. You have to go all the way back to September last year, back when we were called V8's Online, to actually see the first one. So yeah, going to be really, really interesting to see what tonight puts on, and a couple of different names I noticed from last time. So yeah, going to be interesting.
Yes, indeed. It's qualifying at the moment, so drivers just setting laps to seed themselves in the JR Production heat races. Currently, Brandon Schultz at the top. We'll quickly run through the event format before we go into the heats. So, as you can see at the top there, qualifying 2 laps. Then we've got 6 heats of 8 laps each. The top 3 advance to the A main. Then we go the C main and the B main. The top 4 and the top 6 from both of those. And then we got the pole shuffle, Cam. That's a bit of an interesting one.
Yeah, so basically, I think it's about the top 6 all do a shootout sort of style, well, dual style, 3-lap dash between each other, and pretty much decide the top 6 and pole position for.
Yes, indeed. And then we've got the A main, 40 laps plus 4 form-up laps. Absolutely huge event. And just like that, qualifying is over. We are into the first of the JR Production heat races. So in P1, we got Brandon Schultz. In P2, Josh Harm. Cam Taylor in 3rd place. 4th is going to be Darren Brumfield. James Rice, Jordan Charge, Nathan Clark, Brady Baldwin, Matt D. Hill, Clint Smith, and Joshua Binney. Your 11-car field for this first heat. I cannot wait. Only 8 laps, Cam, and around Lanier Speedway, it's going to get hectic.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've got 11 second lap times, so it's going to go by very, very quick. And with it being such a short oval, actually, pretty much not even just over half a mile, it's going to be really, really interesting to see.
Indeed it will. Gridding period almost up. You see the iRacing pace truck there, leaving the grid almost. And it's very difficult to get a consistent start from a standstill to get these cars going on the formation lap, Cam. That chassis really doesn't like it when you just jam it into gear from a standing start.
Yeah, no, the cars are more or less designed to go left specifically, so getting it off the line, quote-unquote, is a little bit of a challenge sometimes. And the addition to these cars from last year actually is that they are now direct drive, so they've only got a first gear or a reverse, so there's no need to put it in pull first gear from neutral. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens as everybody's starting to move away.
Yes, indeed. We got 2 formation laps here. Drivers get a bit of an opportunity to scope out this track. It starts with almost no usage, so a very consistent surface to start out with. The challenge is going to be, as the track develops throughout these heats, the drivers will be moving up and down the racetrack looking for that optimum line. They haven't got very long to suss it out, because a lap around here is only 11 seconds long in these 410 dirt sprint cars. The 410, of course, stands for the engine capacity, 410 cubic inches of V8 power, almost in excess of 900 horsepower. And Brandon Schultz will be leading these guys away, putting that 900 horsepower to very good use as they go into turn 1 for the first time. Looking pretty consistent up the front, but there's jostling back in the pack cap.
Yeah, there's a couple guys further in the back just jostling for position. There's only about 3 transfer spots for these heats to the A main, so a lot of these guys will be trying to move up the field as quickly as possible. Battle currently going on between John Charge and Nathan Clark, back to 6th position at the moment. They're just behind James Rice and Darren Bromfield at the moment, so they'll all be trying to move forward, but at the moment that top 3 of Cam Taylor, Josh Hum and Brandon Schultz pretty much looking like it's going to be transfers.
Yes, indeed. Oh, I just saw almost contact back in the pack there. That was Brady Baldwin. He's involved in quite the battle with Nathan Clark at the moment. You can see, have a look at Brady just throwing it into the turns there, almost backing it in. He's pulling a huge amount of momentum coming into the corners, but he's not able to maintain it on the exit. Yeah, meanwhile, we've got 2nd and 3rd well and truly on at the moment. So that's Josh Harm and Cam Taylor. Cam just using that upper line to very good effect there. Have a look at that. He's really making that cushion work for him.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just running slightly above where Harm is running at the moment. And one thing these guys will have to remember is that as the track slickens off, they're going to have to start moving up the racetrack. But he's looking down on the bottom now to try and see if he's going to get any drive, but it's just not working for him.
No, certainly not. And Brandon Schultz is the best out of all of them there. He takes the win. And, of course, Cam Taylor and Josh Harm completing all of that. Harm getting 2nd and Cam Taylor in 3rd. We move through then to the 2nd heat of the night. This is going to be an interesting one. Alex Bergeron in 1st place with Harley Smee in 2nd. Ryan Gorton and Mitchell G on the 2nd row with Ethan Bastian, Brenton Hobson, Hobo88 in 6th place, Jacob Dixon, Aaron Kelly, Tristan Tristo Yelland, and Gavin Sadler, a 10-car field for this one. Bergeron is the best placed out of all these guys to move forward, but I'm interested to see what the likes of Smee, Gorton, and Hobson can do.
Yeah, I think pretty much everybody from 2nd back to probably about 8th, I'd say, has a chance, even 10th, has a chance of possibly even making it into the main with being inside the top 3. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see. Unlikely we'll see anybody challenge Bergeron, to be honest. Obviously, he proved himself very well in the Sprint Car World Championship Series over the past few months. So we'll see how he goes tonight in the feature. But yeah, it's going to be pretty much all about those final few transfer spots.
Yeah, it certainly is. Well, Bergeron coming around, heading up the field with Harley Smee on this first of 2 formation laps, and you can see that line has already started to form around the track. Only 8 laps, and we've got a recognizable cushion forming, so it's going to be a bit harder for these guys to experiment with lines, and I dare say they will be moving further and further up the track as the heats go on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be pretty much getting right up to that wall near the end of the night when the feature comes along. But pace car is pulling in, and Bergeron.
Oh, good start! Oh no, Harley Smee! Oh goodness me! That start couldn't have gone more worse for him. He's just completely put it in the wall. Now he's at the back of the field.
Yeah, and he just got caught out by the slick there on the exit of turn 4 there, and a couple of other guys jostling for position as well.
Oh, that's hard. Lots of contact down here. Harley Smee. Oh, he's in the wall once again. That's a real shame. Jacob Dixon involved in that as well. So, wow. Harley Smee's night has just gone a complete nosedive. What a shame.
Yeah, real shame about that. He really didn't need to do that, and he was in for an easy shot of actually transferring as well. So really unfortunate, but it's on for that final transfer spot between Mitchell G, Brenton Hobson, and Ethan Bastian as well. Three-way battle. This is going to go right down to the wire, I can tell you that.
Yeah, certainly is. You can tell Mitchell G is only just now holding off the advances of Brenton Hobson, and you can see him there in that Synergy Sim Racing sprint car. Hobbo, he's really making that cushion work. He's balancing his car on the very edge of grip through there, but oh, he might have used a bit too much of the cushion there. Gotten off into the slick clay. He's able to maintain the momentum, but oh, as they enter this final lap, can he get it? Bergeron is untroubled up front. Oh, goodness me, Hobson spins. Oh, he's completely lost it. Losing the transfer spot. Mitchell G is going to take that last transfer spot. What a finish.
Yeah, absolutely unbelievable finish. Really, really unfortunate for Hobbo there to miss out. He just lost it on the exit of the corner. I think he tried to avoid making contact with G there, but yeah, really, really unfortunate. We have to come to the B main, but now we've got Heat 3.
We do indeed. JR Production Heat Race number 3. Zach Masters on pole for this one. Trent Gosley joining him on the front row. Trent Vardy and Lewis Clark on row 2. Row 3 taken up by Glenn Ince and Sean McGinniskin. Field completed by John Schultz, Jake Maloney, James Robbie, and Tom Callahan. Another 10-car field for this one. They are pulling away now. So the track is getting slicker and slicker and slicker. And Cam, as we saw with Brenton Hobson in that last race, it's very easy to overdo the usage of the cushion, because you really need to balance it on the edge of where that light-colored clay gives way to the dark marbles and pebbles. That's the place where the optimum temperature and grip is on these dirt oval circuits. So if you get too much into that dark stuff, it really puts you in trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just trying to keep it out of that darker stuff that entire time. You don't want to get in there. You can afford to run through it sometimes when you pull a slide job, for example, but for the most part, you want to try and keep in that block.
Yep, green flag flying already, and Zach Masters away at the front. Oh, that's getting pretty hectic back in the pack. Goodness me. Lewis Clark having to yield. Oh, that's a big crash there in the back. Yeah, Jake Maloney involved in that one. He's having a bit of trouble, but he's managed to get back going once again. Race still very much on up the front, though. Zach Masters versus Trent Gosley. Have a look at Gosley. Got a very good run off the exit. Masters using that lower line, but Gosley's got the momentum on the outside. Masters having a couple of technical issues. That's caught out Gosley, and that's put Trent Vardy now up into second. They're going side by side. Goodness me, I love heat racing. This is fantastic, Cam. My God, have a look at that. Trent Gosley taking the lead.
Pulling all the moves tonight, doing slide jumps right in the top. He seems to be making that top line work quite well, whereas a lot of the guys are trying to run down bottom as they're all fighting for position side by side. Masters and Vardy at the moment just going at it for that final transfer spot. If they're not careful, they're actually going to have Lewis Clark become involved in this. So it's going to be all on for this final transfer spot, as they've got 2 to go getting into the final few laps of this race.
Yes, indeed. Can't count out Tom Callahan from Altus Esports as well. Sean McGinniskin and John Schultz. Sean McGinniskin and James Robbie battling as well. So it is definitely on for this final transfer spot. Oh, have a look at that. Wow, what a slide job. What an attempt at a slide job. But Zach Masters is going to hold off Lewis Clark for that final transfer spot. That was a desperate move by Lewis Clark, but unfortunately, looks like it didn't really work out for him in the end.
Yeah, really, really unfortunate. Just missed out, but again, B main, every chance that you can make it through and back towards the A main. So could even possibly see a few drivers do the alphabet. So it'll be interesting to see what.
Yes, indeed. So we're going now into this B main, Heat 4, currently on screen. You might have to go through it, Cam. I'm not able to see the grid.
So on pole, we have Lewis Hewitt, followed by Joe Berkeley in second. So it's TTL front row lockout, followed by Jake Byrne and Glenn Postlethwaite in third and fourth. Fifth and sixth, we'll go to Harry Edwards and Conor McCluskey Young. Seventh and eighth, Ryan Harris and Bailey Hall. And then rounding out the field for heat number 4 will be Matt Bailey and Dale Jordanson. So we'll see what happens. Top 3 looking fairly well and truly sorted, although I wouldn't count out Harry Edwards or Ryan Harris or even Conor McCluskey Young. So anything could happen here.
Yep, certainly could. Well, they come around to the end of their first formation lap. My apologies for that, for not being able to see the grid. I've worked out that issue now. Always seems to catch me out with these heat races, but Lewis Hewitt and Joel Berkeley leading the field away here, and Jake Burton in third. So they go side by side. Burton really getting into the cushion, and there's contact in the background there. Look like Ryan Harris and Harry Edwards.
Yeah, those guys back there are all jostling for position. Carb running up high, a couple of them running down low, trying to get that. Flies away from Postlethwaite in the hall there. Just about put him in the wall, but he's just managed to keep on going. And McCluskey Young struggling with power down traction as well. At a turn 4, getting it stuck up in the slicks, but Harris is just driving around the outside.
Yeah, that's fantastic to see, but you can see right at the end of these, oh my goodness, Postlethwaite having more issues. He is really not happy with the balance of that car right now, is Posy. He's in a lot of trouble, as you can see the optimum line going further and further up the track. These guys are almost riding the wall to get that maximum grip. There's almost nothing left on the outside.
Yeah, absolutely. There's not a lot of racetrack. Well, they're starting to run out of racetrack, actually, and starting to form a cushion right up against that wall. But Harry Edwards is looking very strong against Jake.
Wow, goodness me. Sorry about that, Cam. Lewis Hewitt briefly lost the lead to Joel Berkeley, but went around the outside. Stunning move there. But you can see how high they are running as they enter their final lap of competition here. There's not much that these guys need to fight for. It's that final transfer spot that's up for grabs. Jake Burton, it seems, looks pretty safe from Harry Edwards, and it seems like it is going to stay that way. Your winner, Lewis Hewitt.
Yeah, really good driving by Burton there to just hold on to the transfer spot. Edwards not quite having the car under him to make it work, but he's done pretty well. So he'll start not too far up the order in the C main or B main.
Yes, indeed. So, Heat 5 up on screen now. Bob King, the man behind this event, takes pole in this one with Luke Schmidt, David Heileman, and Jock Goodyear in the first 2 rows. Zach Fellon, Marcus Konitska, Carl Hoffmans, Joel McPhee, Jacob Penno, and Sean O'Hara. Another 10-car field for this one. Now, I'm particularly interested to see, with this being the last heat of the last preliminary heat of the night, of course, the JR Production heat races. What's going to happen here? Because the guys will be driving particularly desperately in this one, I think.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, although this is actually a fairly strong heat as well, with pretty much any of the top 5 possibly gonna be transferring, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how this goes and who's going to make it through to the A main automatically, and who's actually going to have to work their butts off.
Yes, indeed. Well, they have run off the grid now following the safety car. Bob King leaving somewhat of a gap to the pace truck. Keep calling it a pace car. Too used to my pavement racing, Cam.
Yeah, it is a truck instead of a Mustang, as we saw on Sunday night with the Majors at Myrtle Beach. So a little bit different, but on dirt as a pace track just to make it a little.
Yes, indeed. Well, coming up to these last couple of turns before they go racing, very close between all these guys. How early will Bob King go once the pace car goes in? He's left it a little bit later than others have. He's gone pretty much right on the green. And already you can see there's big jostling for that last transfer spot. So Bob King already getting a little bit of a gap here, but David Heilemann, Jock Goodyear, and Luke Schmidt in a train with Zach Fellon looking forward as well. Oh, goodness me, Carl Hoffman's big sliding. Desperate to try and challenge for the transfer spot, but it seems like these guys are line astern for these laps, and it's on for second. David Heilemann and Jock Goodyear battling hard behind Bob King, and they are leaving. They're leaving Zach Fellon behind there.
Yeah, they're pretty much line astern at the moment. Running that cushion right up top seems to be the quickest way around the racetrack at the moment, which is really bizarre, but we'll see how this goes. And pretty much at this stage, I think it's fair to say that any of these top three are going to be transferring, and we'll probably battle it out in the A-main quite well. But very interesting to see the battle going on for fourth, just behind them between Fellon and Schmidt, with Fellon just pulling a slide job on Schmidt here in the turn one, and it seems to have worked for him as he's now in fourth position.
Yes, indeed, but doesn't seem like they're going to have much of a chance of challenging for that transfer spot. Having said that, Jock Goodyear going up the inside, attempting to at least on David Heilemann. These guys are battling, I think, a little too hard at this stage. They want to try and protect that transfer spot.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to lose it, that's for sure. And that's the last thing you actually want to do, is they've just finished and those top three have...
Yes, indeed. Well, they got to it pretty late on in the race, which I suppose is more than fine. So with the last of the JR Production heat races over, we move on to the C main. This is going to be interesting. The top four from this one will move on through to the B main. Jacob Dixon on pole for this one, with Sean McGinniskin joining him on the front row. Bailey Hall, Marcus Konitzka, Brady Baldwin, Brenton Hobson, John Schultz, Matt Bailey, Jacob Penno, and Clint Smith rounding out your top 10, Cam.
Back to 11th, we have Tristan Yelland, followed by Glenn Ince. Then we go back to Glenn Posthwaite and Joel McPhee, Matt Hill and Harley Smee, Jake Maloney, Dale Jordanson, and then rounding out the field will be Sean O'Hara and Joshua Binney.
20-car field for this one. The heats we saw were already pretty hectic, but this one is going to be especially hectic because there's pretty much no space on this track already, with only 8 cars, with 20 for 12 laps. It's going to be a big one. So the pace truck moves away. Jacob Dixon will be leading the field away here. So looks like there will be 9 cars going through here in the B main, because there is no 6th heat. We've just been notified, so there's extra chances there, Cam, for people to get a transfer spot into the final.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to make it really, really interesting to see how this goes. A couple of guys to watch that are actually down the order and could possibly even get inside those transfer spots, but we'll have to see what happens, and it's going to be very hotly contested and very, very aggressive, I'll tell you that.
Yes, indeed. So, eyes are on Jacob Dixon as the pace truck is in. When does he go? Leaves it quite late. See a very low start there from... Who is that? Goodness me! Bit of contact. Don't be needing that too early in this heat. Jacob Dixon running away. Brady Baldwin in second place. Have a look at how many cars are jostling around in the mid-pack. Looking at the likes of Glenn Ince as he goes up the outside there of Matt Bailey. Goodness me. Oh, this is getting hectic. We've got a couple of cars around. Who are those? Oh dear, that is a big smash. Bailey Hall along with Jake Maloney involved in that. That's quite a few cars involved in that smash. Well, it's on for third and fourth, though, Cam, in the midst of all of this. Oh, goodness me, Brenton Hobson. Wow. Around the outside of John Schultz. Oh, that's a car stopped on the exit of turn 4. What's wrong with that? That's Dixon.
Yeah, that was Dixon.
What? Okay, so something... Oh, no, there's more crashing going on back in the field. Jacob Dixon is back in the garage. What on earth happened to him? He was comfortable in the lead. Looks to me like he just went too hot. And
yeah, just ran the outside wall, unfortunately.
Yeah, clipped the wall and down he went. That's a real shame for Dixon. But Brady Baldwin is currently holding the lead of this one from Brenton Hobson, but it looks like Hobbo is definitely on a charge.
Yeah, absolutely. He's trying to make his way as far up as he can because this will set the grip.
Did he touch the wall there? That right rear is so close to touching that wall.
Yeah, he's right up against the wall, and he's going to try and get past lap traffic. This is going to be the issue. A lot of these guys up front have to deal with all this lap traffic, so they don't want to be held up, and they don't want to get involved in any incidents either. So they'll try to get past as much as they can without getting held up for too long. But the other thing is that where they finish is where they're also going to help their starting position.
Oh,
Oh,
goodness me, yeah. Baldwin just getting passed by Hobson, but he's made a couple of minor mistakes there, which is bringing him back into the clutches of John Schultz. So this lap traffic cam getting very hectic right now. Cars just going slow to let the leaders by, and you can tell on the slick entry to these turns, these guys are struggling now.
Yeah, it's getting very, very treacherous on the entry to the corner. You can see John Schultz trying to make that bottom work, but it's just not quite got the pace that the top does, unfortunately.
Yes, indeed. Well, the last transfer spot, as the race has finished, Brenton Hobson taking the win from 6th. Fantastic result from him, but my goodness, cannot believe the racing that we had in that one. So Joel McPhee is going to be the last to earn his transfer spot. We go into the B main now. Darren Brumfield on pole with Ethan Bastian in 2nd. Lewis Clark taken up 3rd. Harry Edwards in 4th. The top 10 rounded out by Zach Fellon, James Rice, Gavin Sadler, Tom Callahan, Ryan Harris, and Luke Schmidt.
And we go back to Jordan Charge in 11th, 12th, and 13th to Aaron Kelly and James Robbie, followed by Connor McCluskey-Young and Carl Hoffman, Nathan Clark and Brenton Hobson in 15th and 16th. And then we go back to the rest of the field who are transferring from the C main. Brady Baldwin, John Schultz, and Jacob Pino rounding out the field. So top 9 from this race will go through. So everyone's going to be wanting to get through this to get into the A main, the main event of the night, and that bubble driver at the moment is Ryan Harris, so it's going to be all on for that 9th place position.
Indeed it is, and we will definitely be watching that with the widest of eyes. But for now, we focus on the start because they are beginning the final formation lap here. Darren Brumfield, the pressure is on him. And in these very short and fast heat formats, it's very easy to burn yourself out, put all of your effort, all of your eggs into one basket. We'll see what Darren Brumfield can do. He goes very late. They're away for the B main here, and he's lost the lead already, but there's going to be contact. Look out, everybody. Don't mess into each other. Oh, it's like a pack of sardines through turn 4. Oh, that is quick on the crash.
Harry Edwards.
Oh my goodness, that is a real shame for him. He's going to be out of this one possibly. James Rice. Oh goodness me, James Rice, I think making contact with was that Tom Callahan? He's in big trouble there. It's on for the lead meanwhile. Fantastic racing here. Very action-packed, but it's Jordan Charge versus is that Bastian as well. It's pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah, those front two are going at it, but we have to remember that that 9th place position is the final transfer spot, and that driver at the moment is Brenton Hobson. So he is the man on the bubble, but now he's just actually passed Nathan Clark back for the position. Those two are actually fighting for the final transfer spot. So, there's contact on the front straight between a couple of drivers. They're going to go 4 wide through turn number 1. Car around in the background, but that was some amazing driving by Hobbo, not to actually put it in the fence either.
Yes, indeed. He is right in the thick of it, as is Tom Callahan. They make contact. Brenton Hobson almost into the wall. He is right on the bubble here, lapping desperately. Hobson, little bit of a clip of the wall. Battling with Tom Callahan right up the inside of Callahan there. Goodness me. Heart rates are going a million miles an hour. Contact on the bottom between Tom Callahan and, goodness me, who was that? That was John Schultz, I believe. No, James Rice.
Yes.
No, John Schultz. My apologies.
Yes, it was. But it's all going on for that final transfer spot. Callahan's trying everything he can. But Schmitz is now coming at him, and he's also got Hobson just in front of him. Oh, jeez, that was close. But Callahan's looking like he's got one more position to gain. Hobbo's still on the bubble at the moment. He's coming up on a lot of cars, actually, that could possibly actually have a pace advantage. Hobbo's on the wall!
Oh, no! So that's completely gone for him. That is a real shame. So now it comes down to this, the final lap. He's got the spot back, though, as Ethan Bastian is going to take the win here. But who is going to get the final transfer spot? My apologies. I thought it was 12 laps. Turns out it was 15.
Yeah, a couple more laps in this race. A little bit ahead of the 8 ball there, but a couple of guys still scrape for position for the miners. Darren Brumfield, Ryan Harris, and Gavin Sadler by the looks of it. That's for 6th, 7th, and 8th at the moment, but that bubble spot looks to be between Tom Callahan and John Schultz. Those two battling it out. Callahan on the high side, Schultz trying to run that bottom, but looks like Callahan's just got the drive off the corner, and those two are going to go side by side on the final lap. Is Callahan going to get it? It's up on the high side, and it could very well. He's just going to hold on to it.
Yeah, there we go. Just carrying that momentum around the outside. That's what you need. Unfortunately, Schultz stuck on the inside, just could not get the momentum he needed on the exit. So Tom Callahan scrapes in to move through to the A main. Wow. What a set of opening heats, Cam. That was fantastic stuff.
Absolutely unbelievable lot of racing so far, and it's actually not been too long, actually. We've only been about 30 minutes live, so now I've got the interesting bit, and that is the shootout for pole position in the A-main. The dash is on, and those drivers in the dash will be Brandon Schultz, Alex Bergeron, Trent Gosley, Lewis Hurt, Bob King, Josh Harm, Ryan Gordon, and Trent Vardy.
Yes, indeed. So I think you can take the reins for this one, Cam, because I have never encountered an event format like this before. So I'm very much learning.
So to put it simply, this is basically a 3-lap shootout for pretty much, depending on the driver, every single driver. So the order goes from 6th through to pole. So I believe the first person out will be Trent Vardy and Ryan Gordon.
Yes, indeed. Trent Vardy and Ryan Gordon out there, and they have got a very used track to contend with. You see the amount of build-up of the groove in these turns now. They are away, though. Now, the name of the game, Cam, here, what is it?
So the idea is that you want to try and get up win as many battles as you can, more or less, so that you start further up the order. It's at the moment for 8th and 7th, so the top 8 will be battling it out, and by the looks of it, Trent Vardy will be advancing, so that will mean that Ryan Gordon will start 8th. Trent Vardy will at least start 7th if he doesn't win this next battle between Josh Harms. So these two will be fighting for what is effectively 7th and 6th position. And to, again, explain the format, it's a 3-lap shootout between two drivers. And one thing that these guys do have to remember is that if they do end up progressing, they're going to have to remember that they have to make sure that they've got enough fuel in the car, because if you do progress, you do stay out there the entire time. You don't get to reset back to pit lane. So those that are coming out have a fresh tank and a fresh car, whereas those that are still out on track will be having burnt a little bit of fuel from that previous run. So it's going to make it rather interesting to see if anybody actually runs out of fuel. And we are green, and it looks like Buddy's got a fairly good jump running the high side. Josh Harm on the bottom. That bottom doesn't look to be doing too bad, actually, as Josh Harm's trying to run the bottom. He's going to fly job up to the high side, and he's going to take the lead. One more lap between these two. Vardy's trying to pull slide job up to the high side, but it's not. Looks like he's got contact between the two of them, and Harmy is on the inside. This side, and it's going to be both spinning across the line. It looks like Vardy just managed to hold on to that, so he will advance to 6th to verse what will effectively be the grid for 5th position between himself and Bob King. This will be really, really interesting to see. I think Bob should take this, but it's going to be interesting. And Vardy's done really well so far.
Yeah, certainly has, and I think both of those drivers in that that past shootout, they kept the forward momentum going just long enough to get across the line, which is what we like to see.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a really, really tough battle. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But the other thing is that the driver who advances, it could be either the driver who advances or the driver who comes out gets lane choice. I can't remember who gets lane choice, but one of the two gets lane choice. So they get to choose whether they want to start up high or they want to start down low. So we'll see what happens, but looks like Trent Vardy's just going to get a fresh car due to the damage that he received between himself and Josh Harm.
Yes, indeed. Just leapfrogging ahead of Brenton Hobson there just quickly. You've actually... Am I right in noticing that his car doesn't have a front wing plate?
Yes, it does not have a front wing, so he could be compromised here.
That could be an issue.
A lack of front grip.
Yeah, looks like it happened when he hit the tyre barrier after that crash, but he's going to stay out anyway. I think that that brief flat-out run was just him testing the handling of the car, but they are away. Hobson on the inside, and Vardy right into the wall to start off with. Not a good start. Bob King well and truly away here.
Yeah, so it's looking like it's fairly equal to say that King will be moving on, while Vardy will have to settle for a 6th place starting position in the feature. As King comes across the line, he will advance and go on to verse Lewis Hewitt. So those two are going to be really interesting. This is going to be a really good battle between these two, actually, because they're really hard races. They're very quick and both very competitive. So we'll see what happens, and possibly could see some controversial driving as well. Hopefully not.
Yeah, certainly. I like how there's a real sort of snake-like weaving between we want this, we don't want this, we want this, we don't want this. That's the beauty of dirt oval racing, I think. You tend to get the elbows out, but you still want to see a nice, hard, clean race, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's great to see the hard battling, but at the end of the day, in these open wheelers, it's not really that great to actually make contact, as it can make the car do some silly things. But we are underway. Hewitt on the inside, King on the outside. Hewitt with a great jump to move straight up to the top. So looking like he's got the advantage at the moment, just clipping the wall, but King is going to come back with a slide jump, not going to make it work. And King's actually lost traction there, so that's disadvantaged him. One more lap to go. Is Lewis going to get it? It's looking like he will. King not quite able to take advantage, but Hewitt now down to the bottom. See what that's like. And it seems to have worked for him, so Hewitt will progress to go against Trent Gosley. So King will take a 5th place starting position.
He will, and that was very interesting by Lewis Hewitt. He went to protect the inside line, I think, on that last lap, because he saw what King was doing beforehand, which obviously it's one of those things that that you need to keep in the back of your mind. You need to cover off against your rival, even in these short shootouts like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And one other thing to remember is that some guys have teammates going out and they're not going out, so the other thing is that what they're finding on the track, they can relay back to teammates and tell them, hey, this line's working, or what this line is doing and that line's doing. So really, really interesting to see what's going to happen here. But Hewitt starting on the outside this time with Goldie lane choice on the inside. We are underway, and Hewitt with a great jump around the outside. He's going to run the top, but Gosley's going to do a slide job up to the top. Not quite going to get the drive off the corner, and Hewitt will take the lead as Gosley's trying to run it. He's in the wall.
There we go.
But he's managed to keep it going, and so now Hewitt's going to have a massive lead. Just run the bottom and see what it's like and relay it back to the teammates by the looks of it, I'd say. And looks like that will be that battle over rather quick as Gosley's actually hit the wall again. So Gosley will have to settle for a 4th place starting position, and Hewitt will transfer on to go up against Alex Bergeron for what is going to be a front row start.
Yes, indeed. This is going to be an interesting matchup in this one. I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how this goes. I know Bergeron and Hewitt are fairly equally matched, actually, so this will be really interesting to see Bergeron taking the inside instead of the outside. So this is going to be one to watch, I think. Be interesting to see what Schultz is going to do as well. Bergeron, Canadian, and Hewitt, Australian. So bit of the old America versus Australia rivalry going on as we are green, and Bergeron with fairly decent jump. Look fairly equal, but they're both going to go down to the bottom. Bergeron's going to run the top though, and Hewitt not too far behind. They're both running the same line, and Hewitt's going to go straight to the top. Almost in the wall, but not quite. Hewitt's still running up the top, and Bergeron's running a really interesting line going from mid to top.
Yes, certainly.
These two going right at it. Hewitt down on the bottom, Bergeron on the upside, but it looks like Bergeron's going to take it. So Bergeron will move on, and it looks like he's going to go up against Schultz, while Hewitt will have to settle for a 3rd place starting position. So Canada versus USA, this is going to be one heck of a battle.
It certainly is. Brandon Schultz going to be making his way out onto the track now, and that line that Bergeron was using, I think it definitely shows how the track has evolved. I think he may have been observing how Lewis Hewitt was starting to use the bottom in those last couple of shootouts, and it may be that that middle line going up to the top is what gets the gravy, so to speak. They are away.
For sure, and we're underway, and Bergeron's up top. Schultz had the inside line, and he's got it really wrong. He had to check up Bergeron. Bergeron, I think, made the contact there. Schultz doing fairly well. We saw him last at the Knoxville Nationals, so he's proved he's got speed, but Bergeron's going to run around contact between the two, and Bergeron's going to go and by. That might be a redo, but that might also cost Bergeron pole.
Oh, wow. We're going to get a replay of that presented by CPR Kart Parts. So it all started when Schultz backed up on the exit, and I think Bergeron was having none of that. Just went right into it, and unfortunately tagging the rear of Schultz.
Yeah, I think the other thing is that Bergeron wasn't really expecting the massive checkup from Schultz either, so not a lot of time to react. And with the fact that these cars don't really actually slow down too well when you hit the brake pedal, it's not really, I think, Bergeron's fault. I think it's more a racing incident, but we'll see what race control says, and it sounds like there might be a penalty, so Bergeron will have to start second, and Schultz will take pole position by the sounds of it.
Well, there you go. Brandon Schultz on pole for the A main. Fantastic stuff from those guys, and wow, that was an interesting experience. Seeing that kind of format, you know, I'm a bit of an oval racing noob, Cam. You know me, so it's quite interesting to see what goes on here.
Yeah, no, it's actually really, really fun when you see this sort of stuff, because it just adds to that extra bit of atmosphere.
Unfortunately, we seem to have lost Cam there, but we're going to take a little bit of a breather just to reflect on what the night has been like so far. This A main, the feature, we're going to go straight into it. 44 laps around Lanier National Speedway, of course. The technical wizards at iRacing.com have pulled up that tarmac surface and relayed it with some virtual clay. So this is certainly going to be a fantastic A main. Once again, Brandon Schultz on pole with Alex Bergeron in second. Trent Gosley and Lewis Hewitt on row 2. Bob King and Josh Harm. Gorton and Vardy. Berkeley and Goodyear. Taylor and Mitchell G. The top 12. And unfortunately, I think it may be a couple of minutes before we get Cam back. So we're going to have to go almost solo for this one. I'm joined by Jay Kennedy. In the meantime, Jay, you've spent the entire night in the director's seat. It's been a great night so far.
There we go. That's better. I better actually click the right buttons. It's been a really cool night of racing so far, and tell you what, everyone wants to win it. You can tell from the intensity of the racing out there that everyone is trying giving their all to try and win this. Just for those of you watching, of course, we just saw the pole shuffle there. Guys actually are starting out in the positions that they would have started without the pole shuffle. As the green flag flies in the next lap, they will rejoin up in their new order that they should start in. Then the caution will fly, and then we'll get ready to go straight into the actual official race. So it will be a couple of moments before we officially get under green. That's why it's a 44-lap race, to give us a couple extra laps to get the grid in the correct order with the grid shuffle.
Yes, indeed. So, oh man, the first dirt event I ever commentated on, Jay, was the Knoxville Nationals earlier on in the year, and I absolutely had a ball of a time. I've really had a ball of a time broadcasting this one as well. It's so good to see the diversity of talent and seeing names that we don't usually see in our broadcasts in these races.
Yeah, it's a real mix of drivers, and there's drivers that we see quite a lot that race a lot of dirt stuff that are out there, and we have the likes of Bergeron and Schultz that are very, very regular in racing in the AusNZ dirt side of things. We don't see them a lot on our broadcast here at SimSpeed TV, but in the future, hopefully we'll see them a little bit more, and we'll hopefully see a few of these drivers come and join us for the majors next year when we tackle it once again. Of course, we will have another dirt racing feature in that next year, which will be really, really cool to watch and really cool to see, and looking forward to that starting up once again. But we're hopefully got some other big plans with the dirt side of things, just working on a few little minor things around that, and hopefully we'll have some announcements in the coming days around the dirt stuff. But yeah, looking forward to getting this one underway. We're back under caution, getting ready to go.
Yes, indeed. So we'll be getting ready to go racing very, very soon. Now the pressure is going to be on Brandon Schultz. There's quite a few people in this one who have the potential to win. We've had a very strong field. We've had drivers accidentally taking themselves out due to overdriving, small mistakes and the like. But I think with the amount of hecticness that we've seen tonight, it's anyone's game right now.
There's legitimately 20 drivers out of the 24 that you could say could win it, and then you go right back to Tom Callahan starting last. Even he could win it from there. We know that these races always throw on real big surprises, but you can't discount any of the top three at the moment. Schultz, Bergeron, Hewitt, they're in a really, really good class of their own at the moment. It's why they're some of the best in the world out there on track with us tonight, and looking forward to seeing how it goes. But you can never discount anyone pretty much within the field. There's legitimately everyone in the field is very, very competitive in their own right. So it's going to be a really, really tight fight. We'll have one to go this time by.
Indeed, we will. So they'll now be forming up side by side, as we expect them to. The final lap before we go green is go. And we've noticed a bit of variation in how drivers have approached the start. Schultz going relatively nicely. Bergeron following him well. Look at that on the inside. That's Bob King going right for it, not able to maintain the momentum. These guys need to be very careful. It's a long race. They can't afford to go too hard, too early, especially with the track not being refreshed between sessions.
Change for the lead. Bergeron trying to slide up the inside. Schultz just clipping the wall, but he's going to maintain the momentum around the outside. Also, Trent Vardy struggling on the inside of the track. Big
Oh no,
wreck.
Schultz! Schultz! My goodness! Oh, that's pretty big. The
Caution is
yellow
out.
flag is out, my goodness. So Brandon Schultz going from second all the way back to fifth. That is not how he would have wanted those first few laps of the race to go.
Just got stuck up in the wall there, and then Lewis Hewitt, nowhere to go but make contact. The innocent bystander out of that was Trent Vardy. He was doing a great job in fifth, fighting for fifth and fourth position with Bob King. He's now out of the race by the looks of it due to too much damage. Schultz has continued on, which is good to see. Hewitt also continued on. See if there's any penalties to come from that as well. But Bergeron was just about to start to check out as well, so I think the rest of the field are quite happy to see a caution. Means that King, Harm, Hewitt and Schultz get another crack at catching down Alex Bergeron.
Indeed they do. This caution should be a bit of a quick one. The pace truck will be pulling in momentarily. Now, it's going to be a, I believe, a single file restart, right, Jay?
There is the option for both, and it looks like we are going single file for this restart. So the original restart starting double file, the rest of the restarts will be single file. We get ready to get the green flag this time by.
Yeah, and Bergeron going right on the green there, leaving the rest of them in the dust. Bob King protecting the inside from Josh Harm. But have a look at Lewis Hewitt. He is on a bit of a redemption drive after his performance in the pole shuffle. Right on the back of them there. And have a look at Joel Berkeley and Brandon Schultz, also on a bit of a redemption drive after that poor opening stint of the race. Right in the back of the pack, though, making little bits of contact with the likes of... Oh, no, Brandon Schultz!
Oh, wow, that's a big wreck. Schultz has just been in the wars in this one, and that might be race done for him. He's also lost the front wing off that. We'll get another CPR kart parts replay, but that was another huge one, and that fighting was getting pretty intense there. No surprise to see it come to tears with one of those guys, and it's disappointing for Schultz that he's been involved in both big ones so far.
Yes, indeed. That's a real shame. That was Jock Goodyear coming up on the inside. Obviously, just a little too little room left up the top.
I think Goodyear sort of got shuffled a little bit wider by his teammates.
Yeah.
He sort of probably saw his teammate coming along the inside and thought he better move across. Maybe didn't even know that Schultz was there. I wouldn't be surprised if
Of course.
Goodyear gets a little bit of a penalty from the stewards. There's every chance of that. We do have live admin in the event tonight, so there is a steward there watching over these guys and making sure that they do behave themselves. We don't mind a little bit of rubbing, but you know, when we start to see guys getting wrecked, we don't like to see that.
Certainly not, but I mean, like, you look at it from Goodyear's perspective, that is the that is part and parcel winged sprint car racing, especially with the biggest engines like these ones have. As the green flag flies again, have a look at Brenton Hobson. He is right with Alex Bergeron. He's actually going to take the lead.
Yeah, Bob King, that is. It jumped straight on through. Great jump. He just read that start from Bergeron, and Bergeron's actually dropping to third. He's having a look at Josh Harm on the inside. He's going to try and slide on through as well. It all goes so Berkeley in. So we've got another caution, and it looks like it's Zachary Phelan facing the wrong direction.
Yeah, okay. So, obviously, not optimal for the One Performance Racing driver.
Josh Harm is officially the leader as well. So Harm was officially in the lead when the yellow flag was called.
Yeah, right. Oh, I've just had a look. It looks to me like it was Mitchell G going very slowly. He actually spun in the middle of the last two turns. So that is what brought out the caution.
Yeah, nowhere to go for... Must say it was very, very good avoiding action there from feeling just a little bit of contact. It wasn't too heavy a contact, and he's done a good job to not cause any damage to his or any other cars. But Josh Harm get the restart, and Bergeron actually has been scored in 4th position, so not the best restart for Bergeron there as he tried to get a run. Everyone else timed it perfectly. So Going to be a very interesting restart here to see what Bergeron can do to try and get those positions back.
Yeah, absolutely. He's lost out big time from that restart, so should be able to see him come back through. But Harmy leading, this is going to be really interesting to see what's going to happen. But they're away from the green flag once again, and Bergeron going straight to the high side, trying to drive it around the outside.
Oh, look at that.
Parliament there, and he's got a good run on Berkeley here, but Berkeley's defending that high line from Bergeron there, so it's not going to be easy to get by, and he's not going to throw a slide job either. Heileman's still driving that bottom pretty well, and the defense from Bergeron is going very, very well from Berkeley. He's doing everything he needs to defend at the moment, and they're just going to still continue to drive around the outside of Heileman. Heileman's making that bottom work quite well, but they're catching Bob King, and King gets loose up top. Now Berkeley's having to go to the middle, not quite going to work, and now Bergeron's going to go on by side between Berkeley, King, and Bergeron. Bergeron's still going to drive around the outside, but they're fairly equal, these three, battling it for the final podium position. But now Berkeley's up to the top, but King's still continuing to use that bottom, so it's all on. And now Heileman's getting involved in this on the bottom. Berkeley up top, King in the middle, Heileman on the bottom, and Bergeron just behind. It's all on for these three.
Oh, look out!
Contact between the teammates, but now Berkeley's trying to get a run on Bob King. King's trying to do everything he can to defend. Now Bergeron's going to try the bottom to see if it's got anything, and he's just managed to get it in Berkeley as the cautions come out.
Lifeline there for Alex Bergeron, but how was Bob King's defending there? That was fantastic to see, and you can really see that the middle line is what's emerging as the dominant one right now. You take a look at these turns, you can see there are two grooves that have formed, one up the top, one down the bottom, and it's that very narrow slice of track through the middle that you need to position your car on. But I tell you what, it's the guys will definitely be winding those big wings back to try and get a bit more downforce on those rear tires on that slick track.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a very, very thin line through that middle that seems to be working quite well, and it's proving that very well from Bob King as he's managed to hold on to that second position very well. What this does, though, is this also disadvantages Josh Harm as he was pulling away quite nicely out in the lead, but this resets that battle for the third position between King, Bergeron, Berkeley, and Heileman. And now this has brought back Lewis and Goodyear into this, and even Ryan Gorton as well. So could even possibly see multiple cars battling for this final position.
Indeed we could. So have a look at the lap counter. We haven't got that much to go in this one. As we go green once again, it's all on here. Josh Harm for TTL Esports currently in the lead, followed by Bob King for Synergy Sim Racing. Alex Bergeron gets by Joel Berkeley there. He's defending on the outside and getting that momentum, but Berkeley's just throwing it up the inside. Oh, he's actually using the high line there, but have a look at David Heileman. He's getting in on that too, and Bergeron on King, going for the slide job. Can he make it work? Looks like he's just able to make it work, but King's going to try and get him back here.
Yes, King's driving in the cautions back out
again.
Hands around on the front straight, so I'm not sure if he's had contact with someone who's unfortunately got caught out by the slick up top and has just heading out again.
Yeah, that was Lewis Clark. Oh no, yeah, it looks like there was slight contact between Clark and Callahan, but it was Trent Gosley who unfortunately had that spin up the top there, so that's a bit of a shame.
I must admit, there was a really good restart from Bergeron there on that last restart as well. Managed to just time it really well, just get the drive up the top, which managed to get him around the outside of Joel Berkeley, so this is going to be really, really interesting at the moment to see how this actually goes for these final few laps. You've got Josh Harm out front, Australia. You got Bob King in second, so Australia 1-2, and then you've got Canada, USA, Australia, and then you go back to the rest of them. It's pretty much all on for the nations at the moment.
Yeah, certainly is, and the admins have spoken. Trent Gosley's been given an end-of-line penalty as a result of that incident, so he'll have to fall all the way to the back of the grid on this restart. Bit of a shame for him, but We'll see how they go as they go green once again. Josh Harm leads the way. A little bit of contact between himself and King. They both managed to get out of it, but they've opened themselves up to the attack from Alex Bergeron and David Heilemann. This is getting really intense. Bergeron up into second.
It is not a lot of laps left, and Bergeron's just driving around the outside, right up on the cushion. It's just working so well. Harmy's going to have to think about this if he doesn't defend, and now Bergeron's going for the slide job. Is Harm going to get the drive of the corner? Looks like he is. Only just, but Bergeron's still managing that top line. It seems to be really, really strong, and Harm's disappeared. So Bergeron's now effective race it, and there he's back. So a little bit of technical difficulties for Harm there, but he's back in action. So still Bergeron trying to make that high line work. It's just working so well, and he's going to drive around the outside of Harm here.
He's almost bouncing off the wall, Cam. How good is his spatial awareness? He takes the lead, and the yellow flag is out.
I think that might be it.
Could we finish under caution?
No. Oh, there was Heilemann as well.
Oh. My goodness.
Caught out by the cushion. Oh, there was a massive stack up as well on the front straight. Heilemann got caught out by the cushion and then just collected Lewis Hewitt and Jake Burton and a number of others. That was a huge...
God, that's going to be pretty awkward in the TTL booth. That's 4 TTL cars taken out in that one incident. That is a real shame for all of those guys. And my goodness, you got to feel for quite a few of these guys. They've raced their hearts out all night for it all to come down to that. That's crazy. It looks to me like Alex Bergeron will be your victor here, because they're coming around to start the final lap of this A main under caution. I mean, Bergeron, he lost out slightly on the start, but he worked his way up, and he's done everything right in this last half of the race, hasn't he? Okay. That's, haven't quite heard that from Cam before. My goodness. Jay, come back into the commentary box. Alex Bergeron, your victor here. What a fantastic victory.
His Cam's turned into a lion or something there for a moment. Congratulations, Bergeron. I've never heard that before. Well done, Cam. That's a first for us. What a race that was, and what a drive from Bergeron to come back and take the win. He was in all sorts of trouble and just managed to work his way back into the lead of the race. So that was a fantastic race as well. Well done.
Yeah, very dramatic, as is the norm for sprint car racing. And wow, I mean, I gotta say, some of the standout drives there from Josh Harm and Bob King, the rest of your top three. Bob King's defensive driving in the middle part of the race was really something to behold.
It was a fantastic drive from Harm and King, and Bergeron just in a class of his own, just able to get that move done. That was phenomenal from him, and it shows why he's one of the best in the world as well. So well done to Harmy, well done to Bob, and well done to Berkeley somehow holding on. Jake Burton in 5th as well. That's an incredible drive from him, even though he was involved in that incident at the end there. Still manages to hold on for a 5th.
Yes, indeed. And how about Gavin Sadler and Ryan Harris? We barely gave them any airtime at all. Sorry, guys, but your results speak for themselves. 22nd to 6th for Sadler. That is immense. Just goes to show the value of staying out of trouble.
Yeah, exactly right. It's all about staying clean and staying out of trouble. It was a bizarre race, but at the front it was phenomenal, and unlucky to those guys back in the field a little bit that we didn't get to cover. But that was an incredible race the whole way through, and we've got a few guys coming in for a chat now.
We certainly do. First up, we've got Alex Bergeron here in the comms box. Alex, you are the winner of the 410 Grand Slam. How does it feel?
It's definitely a nice feeling. First off, I would like to apologize for Brendan there in the pole shuffle. I was unfortunate, but I decided to start second, because that's not how I want to win the race. And I think he had issues there in the first couple of laps, but he started on the pole, and we got the top side going. Then we got a bad restart at the middle of the race, and Bob passed us, and I was able to get around all these guys again and get a job done tonight. And that's awesome.
Getting the top side working is a bit of an understatement. You're almost bouncing off the outside wall in the latter parts of that race. How are you able to place the car like that? That's crazy. You just seem to be able to find that exact limit of grip.
Oh yeah, it's all about seat time, and having a good, knowing where your right rear is, with the virtual headset, and it helps a lot. And I can't thank all my sponsors, all my partners, especially BK Designs for the paint scheme. I don't know if it's shown in the broadcast, but thanks to him. Thanks to everyone for putting the event up, and that's just last year I missed it, but this year I didn't miss it.
Certainly, and you didn't miss victory lane either, Alex. Well, you have a lot of sponsors and stuff. You did say this is your opportunity to name them.
Well, first off, I'd like to thanks Nabal Apparel, newbie.com. Go check them out for all your racing apparels. The sign shop at Kinney's for all your designs and stuff. BK Designs for your paint schemes to be on my car as well. RacingNew.com, Dirt Collective, Dirt Car Racing, Myra Inc., Ultimate Dirt TV, and thanks to all the partners that stick with us for the World Championship this season. The World of Outlaws, very appreciated. Can't thank them all enough. You guys for broadcasting tonight. Thanks to everyone who put the event up. That was a great event tonight, and congrats to top 3, and yeah, hopefully we'll be there next year as well.
Excellent. Definitely hope to see you there too. Alex Bergeron, your race winner, your final winner, I should probably say, here at the 410 Grand Slam. The next driver we're going to bring into the commentary box, our second position finisher, Josh Harm. Josh, you started in 6th. You got 2nd in the end. God, it was so close.
Yeah, close is one word for it. I was praying not for a yellow when I saw Alex on the outside of me, but yeah, that's the way it ended, I suppose. Can't do much about it.
Certainly. Well, your performances earlier on in the night, you finished 2nd in Heat 1. It was a very long break to start out with the pole shuffle. How did that go from your perspective?
Well, I time trialled well, which was surprising. I really struggled in the heat race. And then, yeah, I had to wait forever for the pole shuffle to come around, so I just had to guess at the setup and didn't really work out, and I didn't move forward any positions like I wanted to, but made a few changes for the feature, and it come on really good, actually.
It certainly did. Unfortunately, it seems that, in those last couple of green flag stints, Bergeron was able to make that outside line work. How did the track feel to you in those last stints?
Well, it was really good at the start, but sort of, went away. The bottom went away for me on the exits, especially towards the end, but I really should have plucked my wing back. I did that after the checkered flag, and it was really good. I just wish I'd have realised it earlier. I might have held on.
Well, you have 2nd to show for yourself, and that is certainly nothing to sneeze at, Josh. Before we let you go, who would you like to thank?
Exactly. I don't mind losing to Alex Bergeron. He's one of the best in the world, and yeah, definitely like to thank TTL Esports. Ryan at Tie Designs whipped up a mint skin for us. Down Under Graphics, Ultimate Dirt TV, Ash Media. Yeah, couldn't do it without them.
Fantastic stuff. Josh Harm, P2 in the A main here tonight. Bob King up into the commentary box next. Welcome, Bob. You ended up 3rd in the end. That was a very dramatic one.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad race. Happy to come away with a podium. Probably didn't factor in fuel as much as I should have, and didn't quite have the car for him. But yeah, a podium's always something to come away with.
Yes, indeed. Looks to me like, looking further back in the event, winning Heat 5 in the way you did, were you expecting the amount of pressure being put on you and the amount of defensive driving you had to do in the middle stages of that A main?
Not really. I think everyone else had a little bit less fuel, and I got a little bit lost in the mid part of the race. But yeah, no, just managed to find the top again, and found a little bit of consistency and come away with.
Yes, indeed. Did the cautions help you out much at all?
No, well, I pretty much factored in for no caution. So if it went green flag, I was going to have the car to beat, I think. But yeah, didn't factor him in, and cost.
We seem to have lost you there, Bob. But
You got me?
Yep, got you now. Got you now.
Yeah. Oh no, the caution sort of probably hurt me more than anything because I factored in that I wasn't expecting him too many, so ran a fair bit of fuel and just hurt my strategy a little bit. But yeah, you take what.
Yeah, certainly can. And third is what you ended up getting in the end. So your platform is up. Who would you like to thank before we let you go?
Massive shout out to the guys over at Synergy Sim Racing, Trackstar Raceware, the Speedway Shop, Newline Oils, DGD Customs, 88 Media, Posse's Mechanical. I know there's a couple there that I'm forgetting. Also, the guys at SimSpeed, thanks for coming on board. We've had a successful first 12 months, I think. And yeah, and all the guys for coming out.
Excellent stuff. Thank you very much for joining us, Bob King, your third place finisher. And I think for our final interview of the night, we're going to bring in Mr. Jake Burton, who finished in position 5. Jake, that was a bit of a dramatic end to the A main for you.
Yeah, well, when the safety car came out, I was on one tyre, so somehow got through that. It was a big mess, but being a resident road driver, to be honest, I just held the wheel, kept the foot down, and just hoped everything worked out, and somehow it did.
Arca brakes to the max, apparently. Well, you managed to get 5th place out of it in the end. Were you expecting that coming in?
No, not at all. I've done a couple of these one-off dirt events because we got a couple of dirt drivers over at TTR, and I do enjoy doing it every now and again, but I by no means consider myself good on dirt. But I actually put a bit of effort into this one because I didn't, for me, a goal is just to be in the show, be in the A main. Last 2 times I've been knocked around in the heat, so I actually put a bit of practice into this one. I got to give a big shout out to my teammate Alan Tacken and Dean Thrower for their work. Obviously they're our resident dirt guys, and they've definitely helped me out, just making sure I can at least run decent lap times in this thing. And we got, with a bit of luck, managed the top 5.
Excellent stuff. So I would presume that you'll be back next year then?
Yeah, for sure. Whenever there's something on that doesn't clash with my road schedule, big one-off events and stuff like that, I can't commit to a series because it's just too much to practice to. But I love these one-off events. No guarantees next time I'll do that good, but it's lots of fun just trying out different stuff, and you even see it in the real world. You find that a lot of guys develop when they try different disciplines of racing. Guys like SVG and stuff like that, you see going and running all kinds of different stuff, and I think it can help you out, in your main discipline as well. So yeah, I'll have a lob next year.
Excellent stuff. Well, before we let you go, Jake, any shout outs?
Just a big thanks to the boys at TTR, Fuel Autotech, Momo, Harrop, HRS and the team, as well as Virtual Racing School. Huge thanks to those guys as usual. Hopefully we can put it on the podium this weekend for them as well.
Brilliant stuff. Jake Burton, your 5th place finisher there. Well, proceedings have been brought to an end once again. Cam, my goodness, these events never fail they never fail, do they?
No, definitely not. That was an absolutely awesome night of racing. Plenty of action all night. There was pretty much not a single part that you couldn't talk about or yell at or something like that. So yeah, really, really good to have on, and I cannot wait for next year and any other events we possibly do, whether it be Knoxville Nationals or the Grand Slam or anything like that.
Yeah, certainly. We'll definitely be back next year for the next running of this event. It's absolutely fantastic to see the caliber of drivers and the intensity of racing that we've seen tonight. Dirt Oval really turns it on, especially in these cars that have oodles of power and oodles more of downforce, these 410 sprint cars. So that brings it to an end, Cam. I'm really, really looking forward to kicking back and watching that back.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be a really, really good watch to have a look back and see how it went. But yeah, it'll be awesome to see how next year goes. And if anything, it'll be just another bigger.
Indeed it will. Well, that brings proceedings to an end for us here tonight at simspeed.tv. Thank you all so much for watching this one. It was a pleasure to bring this one to you. thanks, of course, to Down Under Graphics for title sponsorship of this event, and to JR Production for sponsoring the heat races here tonight. Awesome stuff from everybody here tonight, and of course, obviously the the amount of drama in the field. It takes quite a bit of talent to overcome that in the way that the likes of Bergeron, Harm, and King do. So thanks very much for strutting your stuff here, guys. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter at simspeed.tv. Also subscribe to the iRacing Esports Network on YouTube as well. We've got broadcasts from all of iRacing's major esports casting teams. And it's a fully packed schedule from here on out. So be sure to keep an eye out. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.
The following is a presentation of the iRacing Esports Network.